Welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy New Year, and a special welcome to all of our Savvy Investors for yet another live training session on the Savvy Investor YouTube channel, where we regularly host new topics, guest speaker talking about our favorite topic, all things real estate. Love it. For those that don't know me, we've had a ton of new Savvy Investors join us. My name is Mike Ponte. I'm the founder of Savvy Investor and longtime Canadian real estate investor. And today we've got another amazing training session ahead of us, specifically for those that are wanting to kickstart the year in the right direction by creating that wealth mindset. I think a lot of us here have kind of taken down some notes and created some goals for this coming year to kind of kick things off, maybe just to have a little bit of fun with the community right now. Let's see it. Let's get motivated by what your goals are for this coming year. What is your one big goal that you're trying to accomplish in 2023? And too many 20s, 2023, and just post it on the comments so we can all get motivated by what your big goal that you're trying to set for yourself. So again, as I referenced, many of us have got goals for this coming year, but then sometimes life gets in the way, and then we start to fall back into some of those old routines. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but maybe stop going to the gym, maybe watching a little more TV than we should be watching, or your lovely wife brings home those apple fritters and you have maybe one or two of those extra things to eat. Anybody else understand my struggles, or am I the only one? I'm not sure. But the reality is, goals are one thing, and it's great to write them down. And I'm sure many of you have all done that. And if you haven't, don't worry. There's never a date that it expires when in regards to setting goals. But the key to accomplishing our goals is, in a lot of ways, is to making sure that we're getting in the right mindset to begin with to accomplish the goals that are set out for ourselves. So this tends to be a big obstacle for many people, is how do we get into this right wealth mindset? And again, as I referenced, this is a big obstacle. People can easily write goals down, but it's just the big obstacle of getting into that right mind frame to accomplish them. So if this is sounding like you, then you're in the right place. Congratulations. You made it. Fantastic. We'd love to have you here. Okay. But I am very happy and very honored to have truly an amazing person in so many ways to share her wealth of knowledge and experience with us savvy investors. So I'm very fortunate to have Melanie Robinson from beautiful British Columbia, Vancouver, join me to share some of her wisdom on this wonderful subject. So for a lot of people, you may or may not know who Melanie Robinson is, but she is a seasoned real estate investor, and she's a certified master practitioner of NLP, Neuro-Linguistics Programming. Try to say that 10 times. That's a good test for you. With decades of experience in executive coaching, specifically on this topic. And you know what? Melanie understands this and how it feels when everybody seems to be thriving. They seem to have it all together. And sometimes we can feel a little bit alone with these struggles to push kind of forward, because we're seeing all this. People seem to all get it together. But again, she understands it. I get it. I'm sure many of us have been in that position as well. And she's been there, done that, the goods, the bad, the uglies, especially when it comes to real estate investing. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring her on, especially to kickstart the year, is because Melanie understands it from a real estate investor's perspective. Just like any of our guests, they need to be seasoned investors to be guest speakers. And she is definitely one of them. Is doing flips and new builds and burrs and turnkey properties, short-term vacation properties. Love it. Just killing it. So really proud to have her join us. So Melanie truly is an amazing person with such a big heart for any of those people that know her, and is always willing to help other individuals. And it's truly an honor to have her join us today. So before we get started, just a friendly reminder that I can see your comments. Please post accordingly. Ask lots of questions. I love to make our YouTube lives as interactive as possible. So let's get those keyboards humming along to share those questions and comments and help motivate each other, especially with this amazing topic. And so for those of you that have joined us as well and you haven't had the opportunity to do so as of yet, please do me a small little favor and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell to help you notify us when upcoming videos take place as we try to grow our channel for this coming year. So let's get to the topic in hand. And more importantly, let's introduce our guest speaker, Miss Melanie Robinson. Welcome, Melanie. How are you?
Hello. Thank you so much. Holy crow, to hear you introducing me that way. Wow, you're amazing. So thank you for having me. Yes, I
Big
feel like
hugs, Mel. Big hugs. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. And Happy New Year to all of your savvy investors.
Love
It's
it.
a
Love
new
it.
good
Love
year.
it. So, Melanie, we've got savvy investors literally across this country, and we've also got savvy investors throughout North America. And some people may know who you are and what you do, and some people don't. I've given you kind of a brief description of who Melanie is, but maybe you can just tell share a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what's your story, even some things about real estate investing. Where are you investing these days? Just to pique people's interest, if you don't mind sharing.
Sure. So as Michael mentioned, I'm a master practitioner of NLP. And so in my previous life, prior to being a full-time real estate investor, we have a family business doing coaching, training, and consulting. So that's what I did in my previous life. A lot of making a difference in people's lives, helping them achieve their goals, all of that. Then I jumped over to full-time real estate investing. And for a while, I let this aspect of myself go and just got, head down, doing the flips, just getting down and dirty in the real estate world. That was, to be completely honest, super unfulfilling to me. I actually hated real estate investing at that time because I'm really used to making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this planet and not have made people's lives a little bit better. So when I realized that I could combine real estate investing with what I love, which is making a difference in people's lives, supporting them from a mindset perspective, bringing great opportunities to people. I mean, literally everything changed for me. So that was 2019 when everything shifted. I've been investing since 2015. But 2019, it's like everything in my world changed. And since then, I think I've acquired over 90 doors. Thank you. It's so funny to say because it happened so naturally. It wasn't it just kind of happened. I spent a lot of time building relationships and connecting with investors and ended up doing a lot of that in New Brunswick. So I found some amazing partners that were boots on the ground there. We got creative in our model where they had a product, but they didn't have relationships. I had all these amazing relationships, but I didn't have a product here in BC that I felt proud to offer investors. And so that's what I've been doing, joint ventures, raising capital. That's been my focus, building a fourplex in Nanaimo, which we could do a whole episode on how not to build a fourplex.
Next, maybe in the summer, we'll talk about that after you get it done, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. Anyhow, so that's me as a real estate investor. And then I do support investors with the mindset piece of it. And that's a piece that I'm crazy passionate about because I know that we can learn all that we want to learn. We can take all of the courses and become amazing at, crunching our numbers, analyzing a market, work in a spreadsheet, all that kind of stuff we can get really good at.
Yep.
But if our mindset isn't right, if we're beating ourselves up inside, if we don't have confidence, all that stuff, it's all for naught. And so, that's what I'm really focusing on. 2023 for me is a year of really focusing on supporting investors with their mindset.
Love it. Love it. And she's starting it off right here with us savvy investors. Melanie, thank you so much. We're happy for that. Anybody else kind of struggling with this whole situation of mindset? Again, share it in the comments. Let's hear a little bit about this because this session is really for you. Don't ever forget that. We're here to support you guys. And again, please ask questions. This is your session to help support you. So, Mel, 'tis the season where people are, they're setting goals for themselves. This is what they're doing. This week, today is January the 4th. And I would assume people are still go, 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 right? They're excited, they're pumped, they're ready to take action, they're kicking some butt. And at the same time, the understanding of what mindset really is really can be a little bit confusing, especially from the topic that, and I titled it purposely this way, is called wealth mindset. And when I say wealth mindset, it's not so much about financial wealth as it is just more living your ideal life mindset. And I guess that's my question to you is, can you maybe explain the differences? Because a lot of people may not understand what this is. What is the difference between goal setting and I guess, creating a wealth mindset, or just mindset? Maybe you can explain this for people so they can understand what the differences are.
Yeah, and I mean, I bet you anybody you talk to would have a different definition of what those things are. For
Yeah.
me, I think of goal setting as basically words that you put out there in the future. It's something you want, right? So it's out there in the future. You might write it down, you might say it, and there it is. Mindset is actually what you build and focus on in order to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So a goal is only words. It's only an idea out there in the future. Unless you actually make it happen, unless you actually adopt the right mindset and make the choice to do things and take action and do what you need to do to make it happen, even when it's not easy, even when you don't feel like it. Like, mindset is that the internal dialogue that has us either take action or not, is ultimately. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's everything. You can set goals all day long, but if you don't focus on building that mental muscle, if you don't make conscious decisions to take action, if you don't pay attention to what you're saying to
Mm.
yourself, about whether you even believe that's possible for you, if
Right.
you just say, I want this, and then you leave it at that, but everything that's going on in here says the opposite, you're never
Right.
going to achieve it. You're fighting an uphill battle the entire time.
Yeah. So you're talking like more my inner Michael Ponte, that person that's talking is like, Mike, you should be waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym. That person is the person that we're needing to kind of set the tone to make sure that they're fulfilling that objective together, right? Is that kind of what you're
That's
referencing?
right. And you know what's funny is, like, that internal you, the blessing and the curse is that nobody else knows what's going on in there. So you
Yeah.
can, put on the smile, you can do whatever. Nobody's ever going to know. It's that
Mm.
quiet voice inside of you that at the end of the day, this is your life. This is
Yeah.
my life. Nobody
Right.
knows what goes on in my brain and what I'm saying
Right.
to myself and what I'm thinking about, right?
Mm.
Um, but that's actually what dictates what we do. It dictates how we feel, which is another thing that I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're here to be miserable. Like, I just don't
Heck
think
no.
that's what life is about.
Yeah.
And so, your mindset, that wealth, when I think of wealth mindset, and then I think of wealth meaning, kind of like full, free, flowing abundance, all of that in all areas of my life.
Yes.
Then I have to do what I can do to feel as good as I can feel,
Mm.
because it's nobody else's responsibility, and life isn't going to cooperate with us. Things are going to happen, right?
Definitely. Yep.
And so what do we do when those things happen? The buck stops with us. We either let it ruin our days, or we build this mental muscle that where we have the ability to control how we feel, to shift what we're thinking about, to change how we're feeling.
Yeah. I've got this visual in my brain, I'm kind of envisioning like a Tom and Jerry episode from cartoons of a little devil on the one side and the little angel on the other side. Is how do we get that angel's voice to sound out a little bit more so than the devil side of things, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, how do we do that? It takes a commitment. Like,
mhm.
you know, I feel like I think it's changing, and my world is changing because the people that are gravitate to me like this stuff typically. But we can focus on the external world and what we want to achieve. But the reality is, it's our internal world that I think we should all be focusing on. If we spend time and energy on our internal world, our external world will naturally reflect it.
I think that makes 100% sense, because again, if my inner Mike is telling me, if I've got control of that inner Mike and I'm forcing him to kind of say, hey, Mike, you're waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym, it naturally says I'm going to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. So it's about trying to have that control internally to have that proper mindset, correct?
Yeah. And one of the things when you're saying that, that I think of, and that I think is really important, is in order to be successful, we have to make a decision. So if you
Yes.
make a decision that you're getting up at 5:30, what does that mean? That means
Mhm.
you're setting your alarm for 5:30. There isn't room for negotiation in your mind. If you're like,
Exactly.
maybe, I might get up at 9:30, I'm going to set my alarm, I'm going to see how I feel, and maybe, guess what? You're not going to the gym.
Yeah.
If you make the decision that you're getting up at 5:30 and you set your alarm for 5:30, and there's no other option, it's like you envision your alarm goes off, you get up out of bed, you go and get dressed, you grab your keys, and off you go.
Yep.
Like mentally rehearsing that, the minute we give ourselves an out, we're not doing it.
Yeah, makes sense. It totally makes sense. 100% sense for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you another question now. In regards to mindset, do you think there's different types of mindsets? Like, I guess maybe in regards to maybe there's different things like goal setting mindset, a positive mindset, a focused mindset, or they all kind of maybe encompassed together? Do you think there's separations of maybe understanding what mindset a person needs to be focusing on based on their goals? What do you think?
I'd have to think about that, but my immediate response is I don't think they're separate. I think they're
Hmm,
the same. I mean,
okay.
here's the deal. Wherever you go, there you are. You are Michael. I am Melanie. Whether I'm setting goals, whether I'm finding a partner, whether I'm raising capital, whether I have a coaching client, whether I'm, going up to talk to one of my girls about something, it doesn't matter where I go. I'm me. And I take my mindset, the way I operate, the way I do life follows me into
Right.
every area. So I think mindset is that desire to be the best version of yourself, to feel as good as you can feel, to achieve your goals, and then doing what it takes to do that in whatever area it means. So if I
Right.
want to, set goals, then I'm going to really connect to the outcome. I'm going to imagine achieving it. I'm going to visualize it. I'm going to think about it when I wake up in the morning. I'm going to think about it
Mhm.
when I go to bed at night. Which is the same for anything else if I want to, right now I have two teenage girls. And so, and so I want to have a beautiful relationship, a beautiful connection with them where they know that I love them no matter what. Does it look like that at every moment in our home? No, because they're at an age where they really are fighting for their independence. So every single day, in the morning, in my morning routine, I consciously remind myself and think about and give energy to the fact that I want to have this beautiful relationship with my girls, and I want them to know that I love them no matter what. I do it
Love
every
it.
single day.
Love it. Love it. So that it's all great and it makes total sense. And I think, and I'm hoping, hopefully it's kind of providing a little clarity to our members that are joining us today and live and or watching the recording is understanding what really mindset is. But there's part of the issue, I guess, we set a lot of goals. We may get into kind of this mindset state, Melanie, and things start to go off well. Usually it ends by January the 5th for me. No, I'm joking. But the reality is it tends to go off well, maybe for a couple of weeks or a few weeks, and maybe it goes well for a few months. And then sometimes we fall back to old habits. Raise your hands if it's maybe just me or somebody else, right? But why the heck do we do this? It's so bloody frustrating. And what are some of the triggers that make us kind of go back? Where we try to set our little Mike in the right direction, and then all of a sudden, little Mike is not going in the direction that we're wanting it to go. And I guess so. Why do we do this? Why do we fall back? And what are some of those triggers that directs us in that specific way? Anything you can share on that?
Honestly, what I think it is a daily commitment. So I think that when we first set a goal, we think about it every day. It's front of mind, top of mind. We're making a conscious effort to achieve that goal. We're taking action.
Yeah.
And then as life goes on, that passion behind it kind of dwindles. Um, Again, I believe that for the things that we want in life, we have to remember it and keep it at the forefront of our mind every single day. So I do have, but I don't focus on 38 different goals. I focus on a few
Love it.
things in my life that are really super important to me.
Yeah.
This year, active income is really important to me. And so you can't shut my mind up from that. I mean, it is constantly running in my mind. I can't forget it. When something's really important to you, you have to keep it at the front and center. You've got to wake up in the morning. I really believe that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like one of those people who, now that I do this, I'm preachy about it, but I think it's huge. A morning routine. a morning routine of connecting every morning with what's important to you and what you want to accomplish that day, you have to keep it at the front of your mind. So circling back to your question, why do we go back to bad habits, or like, why do we lose our oomph behind our goal, at some point along the journey? I think because at some point along you have to make a decision and a conscious choice that if this is really important to you, then I'm going to do what it takes, and I'm going to remember that every single day. I honestly believe, Mike, and I don't know if listeners, viewers will agree with me or be willing to agree with me, but I think we set a lot of goals that we don't even actually really want. We just we should set goals, so we set goals. We don't really want them. We don't really care. And so we're actually successful at not accomplishing what we didn't even want to accomplish in the first place. Mission accomplished, right? So I think we need to be more purposeful about what we're actually saying our goals are, instead of just deciding we're going to have 5 million goals that don't really matter so it can sound good and we start the new year strong. Pick a couple things that actually really matter to you, that you actually really want.
Yeah, love it. And, Sharon just kind of put a comment, I think it's probably perfect timing, is I think motivation is encouraged by remembering our why. And I think that's what you've kind of really highlighted is, is it really important to you or is it not? And I see a lot of this is like, oh, maybe Melanie just posted that she bought a fourplex in Moncton. I want a place in Moncton as well, but that may not fit what my goals are just because Melanie's doing it, because somebody else is doing it. You got to really remember and staying focused on what your true why is. Even for myself, my biggest issue that I have, and I've caught this definitely in the last year, is I'm a very reactionary person. And when I say that is because the world's always on. Cell phone. Sorry, you guys see my wallet. Okay, my cell phone. It's always on. So guess what happens? Ding, ding, ding. So guess what? It's dinging. So what am I going to do is I'm going to stop what I am doing and I am going to respond to that right away. And guess what happens at the end of the day? And I look at my to-do list. Nothing. Nothing happens. There's nothing there. And so a little tip that I've been doing is I've just put it on airplane mode and have set scheduled times. But for me, it's about focusing on my why. Exactly, Sharon. So thank you for posting this. But it's about focusing on the things that's really, really important to me. And my inner Mike, the little devil Mike in the mindset side of things, is trying to get me to go look at the phone. But what I'm trying to do is I want to stay true to my intentions of what I'm trying to accomplish in my life. And again, just a little bit of advice. That's something that I'm doing, but I think that's what we're referencing as well, right? So.
Yeah, I think we can get really distracted, especially in the world of real estate investing. It is so easy. So I'm not talking about the phone and things, but also it's really super easy to get distracted by shiny object. Ooh, I want to invest in New Brunswick. Ooh, I'm going to invest in the States. Ooh, I want to do multifamily. Ooh, STR sounds good. Ooh, and then you never get traction anywhere. So I think another really important piece is to decide to choose something and focus on that. It doesn't mean it's your forever. It doesn't mean that because I choose this right now, I'm never going to get to do those other things. It means I'm going to have laser focus. When I decided I was doing New Brunswick, I literally was like this. You could have come to me with any opportunity and dangled any carrot in front of me, and I was focusing on New Brunswick for 2 years, period. And so it didn't matter what people brought to me. If it wasn't within my criteria, it didn't matter how amazing it was, I was not looking at it. And so I think it's important to land somewhere, because when you're giving a whole bunch of things a little bit of energy, you're just not going to get the same outcome for sure.
Love it. Great. So, we're talking about mindset and I guess there's a question to this, but this can be tough for a lot of people is, how do we develop or create a wealth mindset or a positive mindset? How do we control that inner Mike, and where do we start? I've got even here, just even Sharon, again, thank you for posting this. Sometimes I struggle to know what the steps and actions to reach my goals. And, part of this is this mental mindset. How do we develop this? How do we define this? How do we get ourselves organized to live the mindset that we're trying to want to live?
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I see these as two, I'll answer Sharon's question first, or comment, because I feel like it's a little bit different of a comment than what you're saying. It just, in my mind, the way my mind's processing it.
Go for
So
it.
I feel like one of the things is knowing the steps and actions to take. I think one of the important pieces is just taking action. Like, what's the next thing? What's one thing that I can do to move me closer to achieving my goal? What's one thing? So instead of feeling like we have to have a map, it's like, here's my goal over here, and here's where I sit now. I don't need to know the exact path. Actually, in fact, I don't want to know the exact path, because if I think I know the exact path, I might miss out on something really awesome, a faster way to get there, an easier way.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have your eye on the goal, but then you ask yourself, what's the one thing that I can do to move me closer, and do that one thing. So just in case that helps you, Sharon, with, struggling with it. I think sometimes we think we need to have a better plan than we do in the how to.
Agreed.
So I just wanted to say that because it came to mind.
Love it.
With regards to your question, which was, how can we how do we build that mindset? How do we make this part of who we are? I think that listening to a YouTube conversation like this, I mean, one of the things is inundating yourself with content that is going to support you in thinking this way. So making the conscious choice to surround yourself by people who think this way, making the conscious choice to follow on social media people who who choose to think this way. I used to be embarrassed by this. I'm not embarrassed by it anymore. I don't watch the news, as an example, and I don't watch the news. The downside to that is I can't have a lot of intelligent conversations with people about politics and whatever. I see what I need to see and learn from my communities, but I don't watch the news. And I don't watch the news because that makes me feel awful. And I would rather focus on the good things that are happening in the world, that the realities in my life. I don't see the benefit in watching something unless I'm going to be part of the solution. So if I want to be part of the change, if I'm going to go and take action to do something about it, I will pay attention. But other than that, I don't pay attention, to the bad that's going on, because I want to, I want to feel good. I want to enjoy this life. I have a really corny thing. I want to shine so bright on the inside that you could see it miles away. I want to be that kind of shine, that sparkle that makes this world a little bit of a nicer place to live in. And in order to do that, I've got to be very purposeful about what I inundate myself with, and what I'm thinking and saying to myself.
I think that's great advice. Totally an amazing advice. I hope you guys all caught that. And I truly, if you're surrounding yourself with that positivity, other individuals that are successful or in that positive, I'm sure many of us have talked to that, that one person that is just like, has got a glow. You know what I'm saying, Mel? And it's like got that glow, and it's just like, you just want to be around that person. Then it makes you want to be that same type of person as well, right? So I love it. Good.
Yeah.
So it comes to the question. So you know what? You've been in this industry for a long time, be it real estate investing, and at the same time, you've been in your field of NLP as well. My question is, actions and behaviors that kind of reinforce that mindset that you're trying to accomplish. I would imagine you've seen people that have had success from your experience, and what are some of those actions and behaviors that have maybe helped them become successful in kind of creating that kind of wealth mindset, so that we can kind of maybe learn from what you've seen out there that has helped others have that kind of positive mindset to help them be successful?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it comes down to an awareness that mindset is a thing.
Yeah.
It's not some airy fairy. It's funny. I was having a conversation this morning with someone, and it's not. I think that some people can think that mindset is sort of an airy fairy, wooey. Like, come on, I just want to get down to I just want to like do things. I just want to create success. I just want to buy that property. And mindset can seem wooey, woo-wooey or whatever.
Yeah.
It's science in my mind. I mean, it is science. It's what we think about causes our brain to release chemicals to our body. Those chemicals flood our body, and that creates how we feel. How we feel then dictates how we show up in a conversation, on a Zoom, at a networking event, wherever it might be. And how we show up dictates the results that we get in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very real. So this isn't, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Get on with it. Let's go buy a property. This is if you want different results, if you want to create a different level of success than the average person has, if you want to attract people to you, if you want to attract opportunities to you, if you want to be able to connect with people deeply and build relationships that then you can do partnerships and collaborations and all sorts of fun things with, it starts in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that means paying attention and holding yourself accountable to being honest with yourself about what's actually going on in here, because nobody else can see it. I mean, we can feel it by your presence, but
Sure.
we don't know what's going on. So, what do I think is critical for people if they're, what have I seen as success? What do I think the magic potion is, or that kind of that critical piece? Honestly, we have to pay attention, be honest with ourselves, have the desire to do things differently, have the desire to really hold ourselves accountable, and then do it. That means if I'm feeling angry, frustrated, sad, overwhelmed, stressed, which I do, I teach this, and yet I'm human. I have all the same experiences everybody else does. Things happen, it hurts my feelings, or I get angry, or I'm not exempt from that. None of us are exempt from that.
No.
But when I do, I make the conscious choice to, when I feel that I don't like that, and so then I do something to change how I'm feeling. Before I come onto a Zoom, before I go into a coffee meeting, before I go into a networking meeting, I stop and I purposefully sit for a moment and get myself into the state that I want to be in before I enter that next situation. It's very purposeful living.
Yeah.
And so, did that answer your question at all?
It does. I think it does very much so. It's excellent. It's exactly like you've just said, is you're trying to get into that mindset every day. And it's just, it can be challenging as well, right? Nobody's exempt from it, myself as well, right? And it's just, you just have to really be committed and really kind of ask yourself in a lot of ways, how important is this for me, and staying true to it, right? So
yeah, like if this is who, sorry to interrupt, but like if this is who I say I want to be, well then when I'm not being that person, what do I need to do to get back to being the person I want to be?
Yes.
Is it a meditation? Is it going for a walk? Is it sitting quiet with my hand on my heart for 2 minutes? Is it doing some breathing? Like, what is it? It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it's the self-awareness. And if I say this is who I want to be, when I'm not being that, which happens, then what am I going to do to get myself back to who I say I want to be?
I think that's great. And it comes up to the next question as well. And I think you've kind of referenced a few different points to it is, from my perspective, I think you should be trying your best to live it on the daily, because it can kind of start to slowly degrade, if you know what I'm saying. And then by the time the end of the year comes, we're just like, oh, we're back to where we started from the very beginning. So my question to you is, is there strategies that maybe we can implement on the daily to maybe kind of keep us focused in the person that we're trying to become, or in that positive mindset, or in that mindset? Is there actions? I you referenced a couple, but maybe is there anything else that you maybe want to highlight that you've seen that's been successful in your dealings with people?
Yeah, so I think you need to connect with your goals. It can't just be words on paper. There needs to be an emotional connection to achieving your goals, and you need to connect with that every single day, at least once a day. Honestly, ideally it'd be a whole bunch of times a day, but before you get up in the morning, like you open your eyes, you're laying in bed, for a minute, connect with your goal. And connecting with your goal, what that means is not the words. It's not like, I want blank. It's imagine that moment in time when you've achieved that. Imagine how amazing that is going to feel. Who is around you? What are you doing? Are there sounds? Are you inside or outside? Are there any smells? You bring in all of the senses. You imagine it until you get a feeling. And at some point in that conversation with yourself, you will get a feeling as though you've accomplished it, even though you haven't even accomplished it yet. that is what you need to connect with every single day, is the feeling of how good it's going to feel when you accomplish it. And that is what motivates you to keep doing what you're doing.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Like I know for myself, I'll just share, for me, I read my goals every single day, morning, first thing in the morning. One other thing that I found has really been very helpful for me is journaling. I'm not sure if you're a journaler, but I love journaling every single day. And I start my morning with that. And I actually write based on the day previous. And it's talking about all the things that I've had success with, things that maybe didn't work out as well. But then what it does is, if I miss the mark on a few key things, I read my goals first, really look at what I accomplished the previous day, sharing a lot of happiness and things that went well. And if things didn't work well, I missed the mark, I kind of correct it the following day. But what it does do is it kind of repositions myself and gets me focused yet again for the start of a new day with my goals first and foremost, right? So I think that's the way I've done it. And I think for everybody is, if we start to feel that we are tapering off, is what are those strategies? And sometimes we have to find our own technique to do so. Like you referenced, go for a walk. There was a comment here, accountability partner. Sharon, again, thank you for that. Maybe it's an accountability partner. How often are you connecting with? I have an accountability partner myself. I encourage people to have accountability partners. I think it works very, very well. And letting them know what your goals are for this coming year, and making sure that you are in the right space as well to kind of keep you focused, right? So.
And then, Michael, you hit it perfectly. You do that every morning.
Every morning.
So, and you achieve your goals because you have a daily practice. This is not for me, I actually don't set New Year's resolutions or goals. I set intentions of things. And to me, I could start that in June. I could start that whatever. It's a nice fresh start in January. So I do it. But to me, it can happen at any time. It doesn't matter when you decide that you want to accomplish something. It's a daily practice if you want to achieve it. The reason we don't achieve them is because we don't stay connected to it every single day. And that's why I don't think we can have 28 goals. We need to have a couple really important goals that we're working on. And then, yes, other things will happen because we're all, doing lots of different things. But with that clear focus that every day you have that intention, you're connecting, you're taking action, you're keeping it front and center of your mind, that I think you can only have a couple or a few.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Really great stuff. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. And for you guys that are posting, again, please post your questions, comments. This is for you. This is for you guys. So if you're looking for some support, here's your chance to ask. And even for those that are watching the recording, post it. Don't worry. We'll make sure we get those questions answered for you as well. So, we talked about tips to maybe kind of staying focused and what are some of those things that have worked out for others that are trying to keep focused on that mindset. What about these distractions and kind of going back to old habits? I know we've kind of talked about this, but again, life tends to kind of keep us pushing us back in the old ways. And it's just like, be it work, be it family, be it yada, yada, yada. Just identify any type of distractions. Do you have any recommendations about avoiding distractions and trying to take us off kilter of our mindset?
Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of alluded to it earlier. One of the things I'd say is time block. I think time blocking the things that you need to do in a day is really important. The non-negotiables. You have certain things that you need to get done in a day, and making sure that you carve out the time to do that. I think that's really super important. Again, I believe that when you're really connected, I mean, when we were kids and we wanted something, we were trying to convince our parents that we wanted, I don't know, a trip to Disney or to go to Dairy Queen or whatever it is that we were pushing for as a kid.
Yeah.
We didn't have to be reminded to think about it. We didn't have to be, told not to get distracted. We wanted it. We wanted it in every cell of our body. And we pushed and pushed and pushed until we got what we wanted, or we got sent to our room or something, right? And we lose that as adults. And so it's, I think that, I do think it could come back to the same thing all the time. You have to want it badly. Like, you have to have the deep desire, and you've got to feel it in every cell of your body. And then you have to take action. And so you've got to hold yourself accountable to these things, whether it's time blocking, whether it's picking, what are the 3 things I'm going to get done today, or what is the most important thing. I always get the big, most important things done first. I make sure they get crossed off my list first before I go to all the sort of menial administrative tasks.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's good. There's actually a comment here by Michelle. Any books or audio that you would recommend based on this at all, this topic?
Oh gosh, I am listening to so many different things right now. Why don't I pull up my Audible list and see what, because so that leads me to, I inundate myself. I listen to podcasts. I listen to audiobooks when I'm walking, when I'm cleaning. I just want to fill myself up with things that, that make me feel good, or learn or grow. So let me see what I think would be good.
While you're looking for one, I'll share one with Michelle. So right now I just finished a book with Elevate Mastermind Group for our book club. And it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm not sure if you've read this, but it really, for those that have got, be it bad habits or poor habits, but it's really identifying what you do kind of on a day-to-day basis. And there's so many amazing tips in that book. And I don't know if anybody's ever read that book, but I highly encourage you guys to do so. I highly recommend it. And again, it's Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm not here to promote books by any means, but at the end of the day, this is a question that popped up. But it's an excellent book. So that's one that I could recommend, Michelle, that I think you would really enjoy. And there's lots of great little worksheets and stuff that come along with this. Again, it's about focus. And so, identifying what are the habits that you have, and maybe there's things that you can streamline and improve on to get you into the right space. Melanie, I'm not sure if you had any other comments.
Yeah, I have so many, but one of them that I've just started, so I can't say whether it's good or not, but the name of it is appropriate. It's called Stolen Focus. By, I'm going to say Johann, how terrible, Harry. So that's one, Stolen Focus. I think that would be a really good one. Work the System is another one. Traction, we're reading in another mastermind of mine. Who Not How is a really, really, really good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some anyways to get you started. I listen to a lot of different things, like a little bit more around sort of mental health and helping, like happiness and the Happiness Project and Happiness Advantage and things like that, because those pieces I don't believe we can thrive in anything if we don't aim for happy first. But
yeah, good. Love it. Hopefully that answered your question. And there's some recommendations on there as well. So again, if you've got a recommendation for books, post it in the comments. And there's obviously a lot of avid readers in here, and there's some recommendations as well. So as we kind of look at this coming year, Melanie, and again, a lot of us are kind of doing our planning stages, and so many of us maybe feel like we've planned well, maybe we didn't do so. I'll ask the expert here, and that'd be you. How did you plan for success this coming year? And maybe what are some of the things we should be doing? Is it as simple as just writing goals? Maybe what do you do for like a January 1st, or, if you're doing it for this coming year, how do we plan for success for this coming year?
I think that's so individualized. I think that everybody's life is different. And one of the risks is following along with what other people do instead of really, really figuring out what each individual wants. So what I would say is, I think it's really important to take the time to figure out what's important to you.
Yeah.
Look at your life in its entirety. You're talking about a wealth mindset, and we're talking about wealth in more than just financial being one piece, real estate investing, being a big part of what brings us all together. But again, the entirety of our life. So I think about what are the areas of my life that are the most important to me. So that's my family. That's, I have my girls and Jason in separate boxes in my mind from the perspective of really like building that relationship and prioritizing that. I have my business success. I have a financial goal that I want to accomplish. It used to be a properties goal. This year, it's a financial goal because I'm focusing more on active income than I am on acquiring properties. Although I do want to acquire properties too. It's just, what is my number one priority? It's creating active income.
Yeah.
And so I figure out what are the areas for me. Health is a really big thing. I tore my meniscus last year in February, and I haven't found a way to, look after my physical health in a way that works well for me and has me feeling great. So, I have thought about my life. What are the areas that are most important to me? My relationship with Jason, my relationship with my girls, my health, and the financial success. So I've categorized it like that. And actually friendship and relationship is another really. So I have 5 things. And so I every morning think about each one of those 5 things and connect with it and what is my intention around that. And so that's what I would say. And then every single morning, well, that's a lie. Every single work morning, because I've freed myself from having that same routine on the weekends as I do on weekdays. Because I like the idea of, not having an alarm and just kind of getting up when I want to and coming down right away and having a coffee with Jason. Whereas in my morning routine, I don't. I get up, and before I leave my bedroom, I spend about half an hour to 45 minutes on meditating and connecting with each of those areas that I talked about and all of that, and doing a little bit of journaling before I come down and see anybody.
Yeah.
So what do I think people could do? What do I think somebody should do? Although it's none of my business to tell people what they should do. But really what I think I would love for everybody is for people to pause long enough to figure out what is most important to them. What are the areas in their life that they want to focus on? Because that's going to be different for each person. Totally. And then when you figure out what are those areas and what is it that you want to accomplish within each of these areas, you want to imagine yourself at the end of the year feeling really good about those areas and that you accomplished it. I also, when I go to bed, I rest my head on my pillow and think about the day and how did I do? How did I do in all of those areas? Do I feel good about what I did? So it comes down to being really super intentional and purposeful. And if you want to, I know I'm a bit of a weirdo and maybe I'm a bit extreme on the mindset piece, but I so want to enjoy this. And I so want to help others that I got to stay on top of it.
Love it. Amazing. Awesome. Maybe as we kind of wrap up kind of tonight's session, and again, guys, if you've got questions, please post accordingly. Here's your chance. But maybe final advice would you give to investors that are maybe struggling with mindset, that are maybe desperately wanting to change? Any last bits of advice that you can give them?
I just say, if you really want it, if you really want to change your mindset, then you need to make the conscious decision right here, right now, to do something. That's the first thing, is to make the decision that you're going to give this attention. You matter enough. Each one of us matters enough to do the things that we want to do to enjoy this life that we're living. And I know it sounds super cheesy and cliche, but I believe it in every cell of my body. The only person who's going to make my life what I want it to be is me. The only person who's going to make your life what you want it to be is you. If you say mindset's important to you, do something about it. You can't just say it is and then get off this call and go and do life the way you had and have dialogue going on in your mind and sit down and watch the news and talk about how awful the world is and then complain about everything in your day that went poorly and then go to bed and expect your life to look different. And I don't mean to be sort of hardcore about it, but that's the bottom line. The only person who can do it is you, and nobody knows what you're doing. So you have to, if you want it, then start doing it. Start paying attention to your thoughts. And when you notice that you're thinking about something that doesn't support you in living the life you want to live, change it. And it's honestly as easy as that. Yeah. I shared the other day, it was a terrible scribble because I just did it in my story on Facebook, but I imagine a Y, me being the arm of the Y, and the 2 arms. And in one direction are all the things that are challenges that maybe aren't working great in your life. And in the other direction are all the things that are amazing and exciting and beautiful. And the truth is we all have both. We have pain points. We have things that aren't going well in our life. We have stresses and challenges and, relationships that maybe are struggling or whatever it might be. We all have it. we all also have beauty. We have these communities, we have friends, we have success, we have, all of these things that are amazing.
Mhm.
I have the choice which direction I'm going to focus my attention, because both are true. I'd be right. I could focus on the bad. I'd be right. I could focus on the good, and I'm right. So which do I want to focus on? And what I choose to focus on dictates how I feel, therefore how I show up, therefore the results that I get in the relationships that I build in the world. Because if I'm some negative Nelly feeling bad and thinking the world's a horrible place and everybody's horrible and I suck and I can't accomplish things and nobody's going to like me and blah, 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 I am not showing up and attracting partners and raising capital.
Amazing. I love it. Just great information, Melanie. This
Sorry,
is
that
awesome.
was a bit of a rant.
No, it was a good rant. It was perfect. It was a great way to top it off. But I think I've got a comment here from Debbie. I've got to show this because I think it's quite good. Is part of her, what she does is she creates her passwords using her worthy goal. So I have to enter it several times in the day.
Love it.
So I thought that was just brilliant. So
well
good.
Done, as long as you don't share your goals with other people.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So maybe Debbie, I'll take you out for coffee and maybe we get a chance. No, I'm just joking with you. But anyway, that was a great idea.
So good. Awesome. What a great idea. Yeah, I love
very
that.
Good. So, Melanie, I can't say enough amazing things. That is just fantastic. And thanks again for sharing such valuable information, which I'm sure everybody got a lot out of it. I know for myself, I did as well. So, congratulations. Mel and I were talking kind of during the break, and she just launched her new mindset coaching program. So maybe for those that are watching, everybody's joining us today. And thank you guys all for joining. It really is trying to understand mindset. So maybe you can share a little bit about what is this new venture you're doing, and where can people learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you for that. I am so excited. I did not expect to take this turn this year and focus on mindset coaching. It came up at a mastermind that I was at in November, and I literally pivoted, completely decided this is what I want to do. This is what I want to focus on for 2023. So I'm offering mindset coaching. It's a 3-month program, 9 sessions in the 3 months. And it is not it's not in session 1 we do this, in session 2 we do this, in session 3 we do this. It's not structured like that. It really is me there to support my clients in whatever way they need support. So I used to have a very structured program, but what I found is, the client shows up and they've had something happen in that week, or they have something coming up that they want support with, or whatever it might be. So I found the best way for me to be of service is to literally meet the client where they're at and support them in whatever it is that they're facing. So, is it limiting beliefs? Do you need to work on your limiting beliefs? Are you lacking confidence? Do you need to, better communication skills? Do you need a strategy for before you go to meetings? Are you afraid to network? Like, whatever the challenges are that are stopping people from achieving their goals, that are mindset. I do not want to be a real estate investment coach. There's amazing people like you who do that, teach the how-tos on how to invest in real estate. Yes, I'm a real estate investor. So obviously that comes into the conversation. I'm happy to share anything, that I might be able to share, but it really is the mindset piece, the strategies that we run, the conversations that we have within ourselves, creating new habits, new ways of thinking, that can allow us to achieve our goals. So I'm so excited. I can't even explain how excited I am to be. I've been doing it anyways, but now I'm focusing on it. When I talk like this is me right now with the with the coaching. And so it's super exciting.
It was funny because I was talking to Melanie. I'm like, it's about bloody time. And so honestly, it was good to see, and I'm really happy for her. So for those that are on the call and watching the recording, if you want to learn more about Melanie's mindset one-on-one coaching, just go onto the description of the YouTube channel. You'll see a link directly to her. In addition, I've also put in one-on-one coaching for us as well on the real estate side of things. You can learn more about that as well. But again, Melanie, congratulations on this new venture. And again, I can't thank you enough for sharing some of your amazing wisdom with our Savvy Investor members today. So thanks again.
Gosh, I hope that it was of value. I hope that it inspires something within, everybody who listens to just pay attention in a little bit of a different way and feel empowered. I think that's the big thing. When we realize that we're the ones who are doing it, that what we're thinking about creates how we feel, creates how we show up, creates our results. That's like good news, bad news. you know, it's like, oh crap, that's me. But the good news is if it's me, I can change it. And that is so empowering that we are in the driver's seat of our entire life when we take control of this. So
amen. Love it. Great way to wrap it up. Thanks again, Melanie. So as we kind of wrap up tonight's session, I just want to thank all of you that joined us live and that are maybe watching the recorded training session. And hopefully you guys found a lot of value in this, in the presentation, as much as I did. I thought there was some great insight to this. Please do me a favor, last favor, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and help us grow our Savvy Investor channel. And we'll keep you informed of new and upcoming videos that we've got planned for this coming year. Again, if you're watching the recording or the live training, again, please post your questions or comments below. And if it's not myself answering it, I'll definitely communicate out with Melanie to get those questions answered as well. So with that being said, hopefully you will join us for our next live training session next Wednesday. We got a surprise guest, but I'll leave it there for now. So Melanie, thanks again. We appreciate this, and we'll see you again. Bye now. Have a good night.
Bye.